Hi, my name's Brendon Bigley. Welcome to a thing I've wanted to do for a very, very long time. Going as far back as I can remember, I've always been a huge fan of taking pictures. I would consider myself like a hobbyist photographer. I'm usually the person taking pictures of people at events, so I don't have any pictures of myself because I'm the one that everybody gives the camera to. I'm that person at things. Because of that, obviously, when photo mode started getting introduced into video games, I was like all over it. It's gotten to the point where if you listen to the podcast, and if you don't, link is in the description, but if you listen to the podcast, you know that if there's a photo mode in a video game, the constant goof is that like I spend as much time in photo mode as I do actually playing the video game. I just think photo mode is really special in that it allows us to, you know, on one hand, celebrate the work of like incredible environment artists and character artists who are just like churning out these really, really gorgeous games. And on the other hand, it allows me to explore these environments in a way that I'm comfortable doing in real life. Over the years, I've kind of like trained my eye to see things through a lens, so I know a good photo like as I'm walking around. Whether or not I have my camera on me is another story, but in video games, that's not really the case. In video games, I could just hit pause at any moment, or if there's like a hotkey to bring up photo mode, that I can just hop into it. So it kind of allows for these really kind of natural, organic moments of photography and creation, and I think that's really, really cool. So because of that, I spend just a ton of time in photo mode. So I recently asked on Twitter what people think the best photo modes in video games are, and I really want to hop into those games and explore them and see what I can churn out based on those responses. But the thing that really kicked all of this off, the thing that really kicked off my like desire to do this as a series, is the Mass Effect Legendary Edition that released recently. I just finished playing through Mass Effect 1, and it was like amazing, a really great experience. But the thing that I was really surprised by was how much fodder there was for great photography in that game by itself. And now I'm in Mass Effect 2, and that has just kind of amplified to the nth degree. The character models are mostly the same from like a fidelity standpoint, but you can tell that they had kind of more wiggle room in terms of the rigging of those models, and their animations just seem a little bit more lifelike than they did in the first one. So my plan in this edition, this first edition of this series, is to just kind of like run around Mass Effect 2 and see what cool photos we can find. If you, like me, are a big like photography YouTube person, you will recognize this as essentially what is like a street photography photo walk, but in video games. That's pretty much exactly what I'm trying to do and replicate, and I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, let's head into Mass Effect 2, which wasn't supposed to rhyme, but it did. So this is our photographer for the day, Commander Shepard. This is my Shepard, at least. Honestly, there's already a lot of fodder just on the Normandy, a lot of really great spots for photographs, a lot of great subjects, a lot of great things to do. I mean, I could spend, you know, hours in here. And I have already in Mass Effect 1 and a little bit already in Mass Effect 2 taken some photos of the Normandy, but I think I do want to explore a place I haven't really taken a lot of pictures of. I've been purposely trying to avoid taking photos in this game in anticipation of doing this video. So let's hop to a place that seems interesting. So one of the more obvious places that we're hopping to is this place called Omega, which is like pretty much, at least in terms of the area you can explore, one half nightclub and one half like actual explorable city. It kind of feels like my co-host Steven was describing it as the dark underbelly of the Citadel in a way. It's like it's Mass Effect 2's answer to the Citadel, which you can already tell from the harsh red lighting that's going on there. All right, welcome to Omega. So as you can see here, this is our big club. Let's bring up the map real quick. You can see the map here. Afterlife, which is the name of the club. Great name for a club, by the way. It takes up pretty much most of the explorable space here. We can go over to the apartments on the right in the quarantine zone, which might actually have some interesting stuff going on, as long as there's people not trying to kill us. But that said, I think Afterlife just seems like the most interesting place to like start. So just running around the space, taking like a quick cursory glance of like this room in particular, there's already a lot of like really interesting people and a lot of interesting spots. This guy also is just so well lit that like kind of seems like he's begging me to take his photo in a way, which I will gladly oblige. I also really like this person over here. She's got a lot of really interesting poses and movement going on, so I think there's a lot of like cool potential for a photo with her. Let me see if this guy over here also has the same deal. Yeah, totally. He is a little stoic for my taste, I think. See, move his head though when I look around at him? Yeah, I mean, because then you can go in here and get a cool photo of him kind of turning his head. Looks like he's posing a little bit. See if we can get one. So, as you'll see pretty quickly, I'm a big fan of portraiture in games. It requires me turning my head a lot, which is fun, because I like to do a lot of like actual like portrait photography in portrait orientation. We're actually gonna have to turn Shepard off. I think Shepard's gonna get in the way here. There we go. The question is, how badly do I want all of this dude's body in here? I think the answer is that I do. So what I'm seeing, honestly, just like quickly, is like, I don't know how enticing this pose is. I don't know how interesting this dude is as a subject. I want to continue taking the photo because, like, you know, A, we're already here, and B, you know, you're not going to get better unless you keep doing it. So let's see if we can, like, you know, work the scene a little bit. I think we can get some, like, interesting stuff in here. But right now, this feels like a very standard photo in a way. Alright, let's see what happens when we actually focus correctly. I think if we angle this down and then bring it up a little bit. Well, he doesn't look like he's looking in camera anymore. There we go. That's interesting. And if we're gonna go like straight up rule of thirds with this dude, then I think this like kind of black bar above him is probably good. I think this is pretty interesting, actually. It's getting there. I'm thinking like maybe even zoom in even more. Let's get wild here. The thing is that the models are so detailed and so textured that, like, I don't feel weird zooming in even more, you know? It's just that he feels like this like big hulking mass, you know, which, like, I don't know how interesting that is, but it is pretty cool. It also looks like he's kind of looking away from the camera, so there we go. That's it. Now he's looking directly at camera. And immediately it becomes more interesting. As soon as you line up that eyesight with the lens, it's like, yes. Let's just like play around with this a little bit. Let's turn the contrast. Let's turn it up and turn the brightness up. Yeah, see, now we're getting stuff blown out a little bit too much, which I'm not super into. Honestly, I think this is pretty good. On my end, when taking photos in Mass Effect, I find that the film grain at either 6 or 7 is like perfect. It's like exactly what I want. Anything above that, as soon as you get to 8, it becomes like a little bit too much. Everything in moderation. It's always how this works. One of the other like really interesting things here is this bloom strength and threshold thing, which like it just adds this bloom lighting, which like I'm not a huge fan of personally. I don't really think it's super great. I have used it in a couple images that have like really strong lens flare and stuff, which I think has been cool. But you know what? For now, this guy just got his picture taken. Let me just rearrange this a little bit. Yeah, I'm into it. I think it's cool. I think that his shadow down on the bottom is a little bit distracting, but we'll live with it. Take screenshot. So let's keep working this scene. Let's keep looking around.
Lord thanked human alliance soldiers for their efforts in repelling Saren's invasion 2 years ago.
Oh wow, there's like an actual lower level here. I didn't even realize this. Oh my god, look at them. Hell yeah. They're like really, really doing it. Oh, that's so fun. Oh, look at this guy just like watching from the back. I'm actually very interested in him. I also like the lighting here. This is what it's all about, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, she's cool, very interested in what they're doing, but like, oh, maybe it's actually this guy. Maybe he is the subject. When you're talking about creative work, it's like, you just gotta be open to surprises like this. So he's kind of dimly lit, but I think what we can do to separate him a little bit, I think it's definitely going to be a depth of field situation. I like the letters up there too. I think that makes for a really interesting vibe. So let's focus in on our friend here. And I honestly think that's a pretty enticing photo. I think it's interesting. I honestly maybe want to turn the blur down a little bit, because we're just trying to separate him from everything else. We want to make it very clear immediately that he's the subject of the photo. My one little gripe here, and this is less like a photo thing and more like a this is just how video games were in 2010 when Mass Effect 2 came out, but like you can see that his foot is kind of like hovering off the ground. It's not actually like firmly planted there, but you know, you do what you can. In a lot of instances when I run into situations like that, which, you know, I take a lot of pictures in photo mode, so I see things like this a lot, is like if you raise the angle up a little bit, you can kind of trick the eye into making it look like his foot's on the ground, because generally, I mean, when they made this game, you weren't supposed to be doing the kinds of things that we're doing in photo mode. Yeah, I think this is the one. I'm trying to decide. I want to. It's so silly to say, but there's an L-core on the top right, and I kind of want to like give him some headroom, I think. Because I was thinking like maybe right here would be a good photo, but just in terms of the crop, I want that L-core there. So I think this is it. Let's take the shot. I love it. I love the like hazy vibe we got in this room specifically. She just looked like right at me, and that immediately caught my attention. Wow, look at those two dancers in the back, like going for it. Oh yeah, I'm always a big fan of like an intense head turn like this. I think it makes for some really interesting shots. Because the idle animation is just like them looking around, but in reality, it just kind of makes it look like they're posing. So the trick here is, again, going to be a little bit of composition, a little bit of like separating from the background. Let's go into portrait mode real quick and just see how we feel about it. I think I like portrait mode here, and I think we can have this woman drinking in the background, which is fun. I think I might just want to pull back a little bit. I think this is enticing. I think it's a cool picture. Let me wait for this light on the top to kind of fade out a little bit. And blam. There we go. So it's really all about just like taking advantage of like quick moments. And what's really nice too about taking photos in photo mode in a video game is like, if the moment passes, it'll probably come again, because a lot of these characters are just going through animation cycles. So if there's a vibe you really like, you can just kind of wait for it to show up again. She actually looks like almost a little bit too human, a little too real, you know, which is fun. I mean, look at those eyes, very expressive. This is also great. I just kind of wish they were both looking at camera. I have this photo, maybe I'll throw it up here. I have this photo of two Asari in Mass Effect 1 who are like both looking directly at camera that I'm like, I just am dying to recreate something like that in Mass Effect 2. Alright, here's what I'm thinking. Omega, cool place, but I think let's head back to the Citadel. I'm interested in going to the Mass Effect 2 Citadel and seeing what's up. I haven't really explored there a whole lot yet. Alright. Here we are in the Citadel. Very different vibe from Omega. Also very different vibe from Mass Effect 1. This dude just working at his desk is interesting. his eye seems to be clipping through here. He looks not very happy to see me. So I'm very much in like taking pictures of people mode, which is making me kind of ignore some of the environments a little bit more than I would like to be. It's kind of hard to have your brain focus on both things at once. But we're just looking for good shots. It's not just good characters. Let's see, did I miss anything in this area? Oh, I like this guy standing at his post over here. I do like these two. Sometimes it is about just like throwing yourself into photo mode and just seeing what happens. You know, just kind of looking around a scene, even if it's not what you initially meant to look at. That's interesting. That's an interesting shot. We'll take it. Let's see what's over here. What do we got here? Ooh. These two down this hallway is cool. Visit Citadel. I actually like that, just like as a vibe. Yeah. This could be really cool. I feel like the scene might be a little bit too distracting with all of the signage. I like this. Shepherd in our way. We can actually maybe just use Shepherd. Block out a big part of that scene. Look at that. That's cool. That's a cool shot. Alright. I think this is cool. I think it's a cool shot. Sometimes you just come around a corner and things are cool, you know? I mean, look at this very happy accident here. You telling me I can get a photo of this dude looking like he has a halo? Great. It's interesting. It's an interesting shot. That, I think, is going to be it. I feel like this was a pretty productive photo walk. If you liked this and want to see more of it, let me know. I would love to hop back into, Mass Effect or another game. I have a whole list of games now, thanks to your responses on Twitter. That said, my name is Brendon Bigley, and I'll catch you later. Like, comment, subscribe, baby, do all that stuff. Goodbye.